Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Totally No Mark. We're continuing, this is so weird to say, we're continuing with the One Piece reviews. One Piece review, raid on Onigashima. So, I don't know if this is going to be split into parts, or if he's just going to cover everything. I feel like, from where the last one was, to where we're at, I don't know, but I'm very, very excited to be back on these One Piece reviews. Like, this was when I moved into the house, started reading One Piece, getting into this, doing the Totally No Mark reviews, big deal. And now things have changed in my life, and I'm by myself in the house, and the review's coming back is quite a weird feeling for me. It's quite nice. It's like something that I really look forward to is back. So I hope this is split into two, because it'd be really good to have something to look forward to next week. But yes, this is the 25th review of One Piece from Totally No Mark, and we're just going to get straight into it. He always made them say for anime only though as well, didn't he? Which I quite appreciate.
My first home, gotten engaged, and gained a new family member. So I guess I can say that One Piece has been there for some of the most important moments of my life. I can't wait to continue this story with you all, but until then, as always, I've been Totally No Mark. Thank you so much for watching.
And then how long afterwards? Oh, okay, we've literally got 625 days! Jesus Christ!
Ladies, gentlemen,
Let's
and
go!
the technicolored rainbow in between, we are back! And for
Hell
those of you that
yes.
didn't have to wait the 2 years for this continuation of my review series, what's it like?
I mean, it wasn't that long, but I still waited a while.
When I said those parting words way back when, I never in my wildest dreams could have imagined almost 2 years passing between
That's
episodes.
crazy. Imagine doing a video and then waiting that long to do the next one.
Wano and One Piece, I guess.
Yo.
And as of writing this video, it's still technically not over. But given that Oda decided to make the raid on Onigashima longer than some of the arcs in the series, I figured it was perfect for its own video.
Oh, cool. So this is split.
Videos.
Sick.
Reviewing the raid on Onigashima was a titanic task, and due to this arc being incredibly dense and the anime having covered almost exactly half of it, I thought it would be nice if I made sure that this first return video was primed, safe, and ready for the anime onlys watching today.
Right, cool.
This week I am covering the first half of Onigashima's raid and concluding it once and for all next week.
We got two videos! Oh, this is sick! Let's go!
I'm Totally No Mark, and these are my first impressions of, thoughts on, and review for the crazy, chaotic, magical, legendary, and long overdue continuation on this wonderful
This is gonna be sick! This is gonna be such a nice little recap as well!
Raid on Onigashima.
Oh! A manga only, manga only!
Boy, does it feel good to be
This
back.
feels good
Back
to
on the
be
shores
watching
of Wano,
this.
or should I say Onigashima, primed and ready to tackle the oncoming war between some of the highest bounties in the land of One Piece. But I must say, the landscape of the One Piece online community has changed drastically since I last added to this series almost 2 years ago.
Interesting.
And with that said, I'll be honest, comes with a level of wavering uncertainty concerning how best I should share my thoughts on this material. After all, the raid on Onigashima is controversial.
Whoa.
And if there's one thing anime-focused content creators want to avoid, it's controversy. What the hell is that? I'm massively excited to dive back into
Amazing.
One Piece. It's a story I've loved from the very beginning, and the thought of once again getting the chance to express my thoughts on this story I enjoy with all of you is invigorating. However, on the other hand, this will be the first time I've written a review for a section of the story while also being acutely aware of how the community surrounding this specific portion online has been receiving it. With a sizable
I'm very
segment of
interested.
the
I don't.
community banding
Okay,
together under
let's
the
wait for
banner
it.
of voicing their distaste and dislike for the raid itself, with some of the most popular figures getting hate for simply sharing their honest opinions online concerning it. Now, this sort of stop that. This type of
That's funny.
division or lose-lose scenario would have bothered the mark I was 625 days ago, but since then, I have undergone a metamorphosis, a journey, a quest,
change.
reviewing and disagreeing with so many
Oh yeah, all these reviews
characters,
have been so
online
good.
fandoms, that my bounty within
Kaijo
the
one was
anime
brilliant.
community at this point must be larger than even Luffy's in his world.
Berserk.
And so, with that said, let's try to have fun with this one, okay?
Hell
like
yeah.
always, I love, like, and dislike elements of any story. I only ask for your time and understanding as I try to explain my thought process behind why I might feel one way or the other
Yeah,
about something.
go for it.
So, without further ado, let's go through this piece by piece. Kicking off at the beginning.
Nice.
The
Oh.
raid commences. This raid is bananas, has some of the most breakneck, frantic pacing towards the start, in a good way, and presented me with scenes that gave me chills. Furthermore, the anime managed to exceed my wildest and highest expectations for this story, managing to present the material in a fashion that I found not only resonant as a fan of the series, but utterly gorgeous as an artist and human being. Which is why I want to give the anime its own section later, so look forward to that. However,
I will check that out.
Say that I didn't have concerns for how this raid might be structured and presented in this story. If the pop culture scene is anything
looks so
to go by
good
these days, whether it be in the East or in the West, great stories with action interwoven into the DNA of the storytelling can be both terrific and revolutionary in one minute, and utterly devastating in another.
Later, it's just like, ugh. I've not seen Final Game of Thrones, and I refuse to watch it.
That I always like to make sure is there is that of an emotional through line, a goal, story arc, or target to be kept in the reader's eyes and mind as the story and action marches onward. It's difficult to compare Wano's raid in Onigashima to anything that's come before it due to its tremendous scale and
There's a lot going on.
To One Piece's Marineford, I think that arc did a masterful job of creating and following.
Marineford was perfect, man.
Providing a clear and obvious narrative thread that served to deliver that arc's most poignant moment, satisfying us as readers and watchers in the process. In Wano, while structurally similar, some chess pieces are different, others are missing, and even a few have been promoted since that outing in Marineford all those years ago. And despite the goal for our main characters being ace in Marineford, it's more so a battle for the future of the One Piece world as we know it. Hoisted on the shoulders of the older and present generations, Luffy's newer and younger generation is afforded a luxury they otherwise can't enjoy in Wano. In Marineford, while Whitebeard and the older generations were allowed to take the reins...
Oh yeah, they were. They were just annihilating everything. It's like...
took care of the battle's logistics and
it comes up to like, they're not there now. You guys need to step up.
To focus on the emotional throughline of the battle without needing to worry about other aspects that were less interesting. Needless to say, this was by design, and in Wano, Oda made sure to see to that aspect of the story too. Now, Luffy's generation has to take the world for themselves and lead the charge.
Step up, boys. Step up.
And surprisingly, it works elegantly, naturally, and extremely well within the themes and framework of the series and arc itself all at once. One Piece again highlighting the stark contrast between who they once were versus who they are now and want to be. Furthermore, something the Onigashima raid did masterfully well was that it created a prologue to the coming war or battle that truly captured my imagination and set the stage for the coming conflict beyond what my wildest dreams could have prepared me for. Having spent so long being beaten down by Wano's despair, bottomless corruption,
a lot of bad stuff going on for so long, man.
Was in Odin's flashback before being stabbed in the back, left feeling isolated and alone, looking out at a sea filled with possibilities of a raid failing before it even began. Once Luffy and co arrived, my hype level
was just like, let's go, he's all over it.
Started the fight yet, and before we do, Oda needs to inform us of a few things. We must first understand the arena. Marineford had an iconic arena that played a vital role in determining the flow of the battle.
Oh yes, we need to know where people are going and why.
And so too did Wano's
yeah.
An island with a skull-shaped structure, housed within it a number of different themed floors filled with their own unique battles and enemies that need their own unique approaches. And atop this demonic structure, the ultimate goal and rematch
Kaido.
Luffy. Kaido, now allied with Big Mom.
Which is insane.
And in the earliest stages, it was. Oda did a wonderful job establishing the layout of the area, establishing what teams are where
they're going and why. Yeah, amazing.
For the gang to infiltrate the building in disguises manifested by Kinemon. And from there, our Straw Hats splinter into their own respective squadrons to tackle the relevant floors, freeing up the main entree, Luffy, and those it has followed to contest Kaido and Big Mom atop this structure. As things are conceptually, this is an exciting and fun way to present the coming conflict. It has built-in tension with them sneaking into the structure without actually going in all guns blazing, which is absolutely what Luffy does later. We have our gang split up for good reasons, we have a rough idea of what this area is structured like, and we know what the goal is. To take back Wano from Kaido, to liberate its people,
save everyone.
The clutches of Kenjuro
and then
the
that
traitor,
prick.
and that cockroach Orochimaru still knocking
prick.
about. There's plenty for us to anticipate as the battle commences. Okay, look, let's slow down a bit and just take stock of where we are.
Okay.
I think early on I was most impressed with Oda's ability to create comedic moments within the seriousness and chaos of
because there's a lot of mad stuff going on, but it needs to be funny and entertaining at the same time.
And Zoro going after Luffy, to which the gang remarks, "You He's only gonna get
Lost, yeah.
Rooting all of this, of course, in the
Brilliant.
character of the series is built upon was a genius and lovely idea. Similarly to how some comedians deliver phenomenally dramatic performances like Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting and Mrs. Doubtfire, Oda leverages his comedic chops to help avoid this battle becoming one-note and downtrodden by the gravitas of the occasion also. Again, and I'm sure many people might have overlooked this moment, but completely driven by character, there's a short but brilliant exchange between Luffy and Zoro that I absolutely adored.
Yeah.
I never really thought to speak of this aspect when I was reviewing the series a number of years ago. However, having spoken to fans of the Zoro character recently, I've personally found a new appreciation for the character myself. The duo of Zoro and Luffy is exceptional across this series.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Despite one of them being stoic to the point of silence on a number of occasions, they have perhaps some of the best chemistry in the series.
Yes.
Fittingly, don't share too many exchanges to share.
But when they do.
Zoro is a formidable character.
Yes.
One that offers a lot in the way of brawn and ability to the Straw Hats.
He's
but
so
what I think
goddamn
is
powerful.
often overlooked regarding him is his effectiveness as the backbone of the greater Straw Hat crew themselves. A few weeks ago, I spoke on how much I adored the battle Luffy shared with Usopp during Water 7.
Yeah, it was
and
amazing.
The main component as to why I found that to be so resonant and effective, in essence, spawned from the realism and sense of division it created amongst the crew themselves. And few contributed to that feeling more so than Zoro himself. For he was the one who stood in Luffy's corner, backing up every uncertain but stern decision he made or was forced to make towards Usopp. And when Usopp wanted to get back to the Straw Hats, Luffy was willing to accept Usopp's excuses
Straight away.
if it meant he could get his friend back. However, Zoro
He
made
questioned
sure
it.
Luffy
Yeah.
stood his ground to get the apology he was owed. And this, I think, makes Zoro the perfect first mate.
Yeah.
The perfect second in
He
command
knows what his
congruent
captain
to
deserves,
Luffy's
man.
boundless ambition, helping him to remain focused in moments where he might be unwieldy and to back him up whatever it takes
No
when the
matter.
moment calls for it.
Yeah.
And chapter 980 has a wonderful moment that echoes that very aspect of their dynamic. With Zoro having chased after Luffy, who is now just blown his cover due to the indulgence of the ruling class of
Just let's
soldiers,
go for it.
In response, Zoro complains, but once he figures out the situation and the motivation behind it, this big brotherly bond is in full force once again. And switching gears from that dynamic, we even get moments where Kid himself goes face to face with rivals of his from the very generation he belongs to alongside Luffy.
Yeah, it was
With
such a weird one
excuses
seeing
like,
these guys like
"You really
fighting and
think
stuff
tip
and
the
like
balance in favor of
struggling.
yourselves against one of the four emperors being the order of the day. And once again, in line with each of their characters, it's not by chance
I'm glad that
rebellious
Kid came out
followers
like
found themselves
on top
aligned
after all of it.
against
My God.
Kaido. Those with ambition that genuinely want to grab the world by the reins
Genuine.
and steer it in the right direction are fighting Kaido. And those too scared to challenge the status quo are stuck beneath
ones
his
joined him.
dogmatic and tyrannical thumb. It's a
Pussies.
subtle but again very effective aspect of the villain's characterization that helps to create an obvious and easy
The ones that thought they
side
couldn't
story.
possibly win
However,
joined him.
with all of this good stuff, there are some small issues that eventually cascade into much larger ones for me as I read on. And it all starts with the conveyance within the raid itself. So, what do I mean? Well, dotted throughout this raid are instances of exposition. Text from Oda directly to us, where in lieu of demonstrating a particular group or character's positioning, he just tells us. This struck me as strange.
Oh, okay, I
One
see what
Piece
you
is
mean.
meticulous in its setup and desire to let the story do the talking. We don't
They're literally saying where they're going and what
where
they're doing.
they are
Right,
by some
okay. But there's so much
disembodied
going on,
voice
though.
narration bubble. We normally find this out through context clues in the story, like when Sanji went to the sea train in Water 7, or visual cues like in Arlong Park or Alabasta.
Yeah.
Looking at stories like Skypia or even massive events like Marineford,
He's fully
characters
capable of
establishing
doing
shots and the
it,
story's
yeah.
flow would fill us in on the details normally. However, here in Wano, for some reason, it doesn't. And I think I might know why.
Right, go on.
Having spent the entire story on the Wano mainland, getting to know that region and the area, now having moved to another island, one that has multiple layers or floors, filled with countless characters, many of which are newly introduced
It's
during the
too
Wano
much
arc
to
itself,
reintroduce
all
to
duking
everyone.
it out in, honestly, at this point, very similar styles of battle. Now Oda finds himself in a situation where he wants to have, for example, a pleasure hall. When we as an audience don't know what they look like all too well, we don't know where it is in relation to the rest of the crew fighting, and that's the problem. Furthermore, with everyone on every floor fighting, that too creates environments that look rather similar. Understanding this, Oda later introduces much more unique types of fighting as well as different targets.
Oh god, the
within
freezing
hits on
abilities
each of
and the
respective
animals, yeah,
floors,
yeah.
but even including the most diverse examples, for me, it didn't help all that much. Impel Down handled this issue fantastically.
Impel Down was incredible. Skypiea and Impel Down are my favourite. Marineford is their top 3, not in the particular order. Impel Down was so fun. Just kept going, man.
Just focused on Luffy, really. And this all isn't to say, by the way, that this issue bothered me tremendously at this point. However, it is, I think, the first sign of a much more all-consuming issue I encountered later on towards the middle of the raid itself. In the meantime, I was still enthralled by the feverish pacing and the intrigue each newly revealed ruffle to this battle potentially offered. Like this one.
Big Mom with a memory.
Yeah,
Marco's sick when he comes in.
See coming, and I wondered why, seeing as I should have known he was on his way in some capacity.
Well, yeah, because he had the conversation beforehand,
didn't
didn't
he?
he?
His own moments later. But now we gotta clear the red carpet for the main man of the hour, Odin, or should I say, the internet's new favorite, Yamato.
Oh.
Yamato is a character that's grown in popularity enormously since their unveiling.
He's boss.
To be honest, I was blown away to see that they were revealed so early on in this story. I had forgotten how early they were introduced. So now we get the offspring of Kaido.
Not being like
about,
she does want to be known as he doesn't do, so that's why I'm saying
all the
that.
While sort of acting like Odin in many respects.
But then they're doing the funny thing with the guys being like,
oh. Again, led me to reconsider how key events in this
very attractive anime character.
Play out in the future. And just as that happened.
Yep. Don't care. Get out of my way.
This is something of a trend for Orochi's battle, and given how awful of a person he is, I'm kind of here for it. I kind of want to see him die again and again and again.
And it does happen.
While we're focusing on Kaido's section of the ongoing skirmish, I think it's important to touch on a vital aspect of the story, a narrative thread that extends far beyond this raid and even this very arc. I am, of course, talking about Kozuki Momonosuke.
Here we go.
The quest to find oneself isn't a story One Piece tries to avoid in any capacity. Striving for your dreams and staying true to who you are of course the core tenets of many jump stories,
yes it is.
One Piece. We've seen it with the likes of Nami and Arlong Park,
yeah, it helps reading One Piece.
Through the character of Momo in
Come on, mate.
perhaps the longest journey to find oneself in this series. Having come into focus for us within what we thought at the time was a side plot in Punk Hazard, he's introduced as a regret-filled, ashamed, scared, and misguided young boy. And yet, despite the less than ideal circumstances that befell both he and those looking over him,
and
thanks to the kindness
the namesake that he
despite
carries,
finding himself in the clutches of the very man that scares him more than any other on this planet, he's able to show his growth and resolve as a character, proclaiming his namesake in defiance of what Kaido stands for. Demonstrating to everyone
Kazuki,
and
mate.
of course us reading and watching that he is no longer the sniveling child he once was, but now a strong and capable young man.
Let's go.
It's a stunning payoff, I thought, to what was a long and winding character arc. A payoff that, alongside others, were all concentrated and confined to only the beginning of this raid. And I honestly think that's remarkable. A little while ago, I made a video called The Day Dragon Ball Died.
Good video.
I tried to describe why I found that to, quite frankly, be the case in at least one meaningful capacity. And that very capacity...
I didn't agree with everything, but yeah.
Fighting was no longer a driving force for the narrative. While
Excuse
I
me.
have my issues with One Piece's choices in conveyance, there's no denying the sheer volume of compelling, character-focused, and narratively driven story beats that occupy and populate the pages of this manga, chapter after chapter. When I say that reading this week to week versus reading it all in one go is a massively different experience, I want to emphasize that that is actually the case.
I mean, I'm now reading it weekly,
Absolute chills. It's what we have character
and I'm enjoying it. I've not read 1057 yet, so don't put anything down there, but
their tragic downs and naturally
loving reading this weekly now. It's boss to me. But I do get binging this as well.
Oda wants us to take notice and recognize this as a monumental moment in this story, and it absolutely
It's very easy to forget bits because there's so much going on.
My reactions to this story at this moment sound unwieldy.
So I appreciate videos like this. Like,
if it feels like I'm dashing from one awesome moment to the next sharing my thoughts, that's because I kind of am, and it's by design. In reality, I'm trying to capture something of a glimpse of what it might have been like to discuss this with me as I was reading the early portion.
Right.
With grand moment after grand moment, prophetic reunitings after massive set pieces that conclude with amazing group shots ready to catapult us into the next exciting sequence, all of this takes center stage without delay. It is frantic in every sense of the word, and in a brilliant way that's both exciting and appropriate for the story being told. There's no negatives really at this point to speak of, outside of that minor conveyance issue. However, still, at the forefront of my mind at this point was one thing. Kaido versus
Luffy. Let's go!
A long time has passed since their last encounter, and sort of in the One Piece story, maybe not, I don't know. And in the back of my mind, despite enjoying all of the pageantry and One Piece awesomeness, I was eagerly awaiting the moment that I was certain would change the story forever. I could not wait for this rematch.
So good.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Kaido's on the roof, Luffy's on his way to the roof to challenge Kaido, and between Luffy and the big dragon himself stands a number of formidable foes that are all being ordered to stop him no matter the cost. It's an easy to understand structure for this challenge.
Yamato!
But perhaps more importantly,
Oh yeah, when Sanji gets his like German suit, suit.
Along this difficult ascent up to the roof, Luffy and his gang encounter a colorful litany of enemies that, at any other point in the story, could have spelled the end for their little crew. However, when they point out as each of them drops off one after another to buy time for Luffy, that was a long time ago. Encountering obstacles that would rival the likes of Oars, Zoro slices through them as if it were nothing special. Luffy assumes Gear 4, screams, "Things are different now."
And keeps
Not just
going.
a battle cry, but a promise to us as viewers and readers that our time spent with these characters has served a purpose.
Yeah.
We believe in Luffy when he says this. No longer the crew that would run. Instead, they have now
keep
become
going
something
forwards.
worthy themselves of running from.
Yes,
and
man.
I think that's something not many manga get to enjoy. Certainly not like One Piece does anyway. It's like every
Huge build up to be like, look, we're fully capable now. Not just one guy, the crew. We are going through. We're getting him to fight that big bad at the bottom, at the top there. Oh yeah, Chopper dealing with that like disease thing that was spreading with the ice thing. Frankie, everyone.
It's simple, but if you don't get the simple stuff right, then the more complicated stuff later on either doesn't matter or comes off as
It's so good.
I'm going to come clean for a second because I personally haven't looked at a lot of the anime. And even within this video, I've only really taken a look at less than a handful. However,
yeah, I'm manga only, so I'm loving the stuff that I'm seeing on this screen right now, bloody hell.
With their numerous panels end up translating as a storyboard for a given animation. This was a massive upside I saw for those watching this anime. In the past, and indeed with later portions of this arc that I will struggle to get through in this review and manga, that doesn't happen to be the case. However, with this samurai fight, Oda knocked it out of the park.
So sick.
Much less cluttered when the time came for the action, more interesting layouts started to make themselves known, and the action could breathe. There was even a moment in the short exchange that made me audibly gasp. I'm serious, I gasped, and it was for this.
Oh mate, that was... Oh.
Chapter 1000.
Stuff starts getting serious there.
Early on in my One Piece journey that I said, and again, I wanted to be present for. That it wasn't every day a series like One Piece comes along, let alone reaches 1,000 chapters.
Mental.
And this might be my favorite point in the early battle. For all the aspects of it that I've praised prior, I think this sequence is the moment where the storylines in the battle felt the most in sync with each other. The chaos takes a breath, and for the first time it truly feels like a structure I can immerse myself entirely within. And it's achieved through contrast. During this section, there are a multitude of POVs to consider. However, really there are only two main ones at this time that we should focus on. Luffy's and the Samurais.
Yeah.
Each has their unique tasks and both feed into the effectiveness of each other. Naturally, with regards to the Samurai's struggle against Kaido, understanding that this situation with them is worsening is made all the more tense as we know Luffy will arrive at any moment to help their worsening situation.
Oh,
the
yeah.
drama and tenseness of the occasion is made all the more palpable when contrasted with the lighthearted blitz Luffy's section provides. Unlike the samurai scene that are terrified and standing their ground, Luffy just runs straight past everyone in his way to beeline it to the roof to tango with Kaido. However, while these two scenes have key differences used for the purpose of contrast, they're also importantly similar. They both demonstrate a group of friends, allies, or warriors standing by one another to help each other achieve their goal. Where the samurai stand by each other, so too do the Straw Hats stand by their captain. It's uplifting within both scenes, of course. However, when one comes out on top, another doesn't.
Yeah.
This discovery atop the structure is shocking. Watching as
Mate.
Kinemon leaves his dying wish to Luffy, the upbeat and somewhat lighthearted nature of Luffy's scramble becomes overshadowed by the weight of this new
Animation looks
Getting
incredible.
the chance to sit back and watch as Luffy and the major players in this conflict
Here we go.
converge before Kaido and Big Mom was a thrilling moment. I love these calmer instances.
Looks so
of the
good.
storm. And I
Holy
think
crap.
that while the manga did a great job with this scene, I don't think I've seen a better adaptation committed to any other anime. Because
Whoa.
Megumi Ishitani demonstrated how impressive she was as an anime director with episode 1015 covering this very material. And while I will most definitely be covering it later on in this video, I need to
Whoa.
mention it at this point too. It's just that damn good. The fight that takes place here is great too. Perhaps some of the best action paneling I've seen from Oda in quite some time.
Mate,
A
so
prominent
sick.
complaint I've had for this raid that I will most definitely be addressing later on as its cluttered nature increases, hindering my personal ability in understanding and enjoying what's been shown to me has been the paneling itself, cluttered as it is. However, with this fight, and indeed the samurai fight leading up to it, there are large panels everywhere.
Mate, like, yeah, moments get cut off and stuff. It's like, yo.
From characters like Kid, Zoro, and Luffy as they each try their hand at toppling the unstoppable Kaido.
Kaido
It's a compelling
is
set of
insane. It's
circumstances,
absolutely
one that's allowed
insane.
to breathe and shine through these very pages.
He can't be
One
cut.
whose outcome determines the future of not just Wano, but the One Piece world as it stands. All they have to do is keep the pressure on.
Keep going and then done.
This is bad, but it is hype. It's so cool and things are immeasurably
Give him
tense.
time to
While
recover.
things are tense at this very moment, let's take a step back and talk about some of the people and moments that helped to turn this into this. The anime. Despite
Okay,
covering
cool.
the
Go
manga
for
in
it.
This video, one thing that's impossible to ignore is the sheer quality of the anime adaptation.
Because it looks boss. It looks really
The
boss what I'm seeing.
spectacular scenes from Wano are paraded around social media, and as the show has reached the rooftop and the quantity of action increased, so too has the quality of output from the animators who
Damn.
poured this wonderful adaptation. After struggling to maintain its reputation post-time skip, reaching some remarkable lows in Dressrosa,
I love that he's doing this as well, regardless of the bad, like, stuff he's had with Toei in the past. This is really interesting he's doing this.
It has confidently cemented itself as the best-looking long-format show on TV right now. The dramatic increase in quality is the result of a number of staff changes that have slotted together to form the backbone of this production. The biggest change comes in the form of the show's series director. This is the person in charge of the entire production, both as a creative decision maker and final supervisor, meaning they have the last word on every aspect
Everything.
of the production.
Damn.
It was Tatsuya Nagamine who took over this role, perhaps best known these days for directing Dragon Ball Super Broly and heralding the visual upgrade the Super TV series received in its survival arc.
Okay.
In a similar vein,
Let's
one of the very
go.
first things Nagamine did in this role was overhaul the show's composite, meaning how the original drawings are treated. Their colors, their lighting effects, and even the way the line work looks.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
Productions who had been with the show for 20 years and instead replaced them with the Asahi production, one of the most beloved composite
Holy
studios
crap.
in Japan, and the group who defined the look of the One Piece movies Gold and Stampede. Led by Naoyuki Wada, the anime found itself with
They're
a
upping it as it goes. That's amazing. They're upping it. Go on.
Camera work like depth of field and a more bombastic approach to the way the cast powers were displayed. Guided by the series director, it helped bring the anime up to modern standards that allowed even the most basic of scenes to shine brighter than they had ever done before. However, the series director role requires more than just overseeing the finishing of episodes. It's an intensive role that sees Nagamine looking over and often providing corrections for every episode's storyboard. It is so much work. So much so, in fact, that the Wano arc introduced two co-series directors in the form of Kohei Kureta and Aya Komaki,
Right.
two of the series' most beloved episode directors. With these exceptionally talented staff members leading the production, a show with the scope of One Piece finally received the necessary manpower to ensure its success. And a series can't be made with 3 people, of course.
Of
So
course.
a huge number of animators are required to bring the show to life. This is where the production manager comes in. They're the person in charge of gathering talent for each respective episode, and as a result, can be just as
Luffy just grabbing
important
them all
to determine the
together.
show's quality than the series director themselves. A man by the name of Tetsuji Akahori plays this role on One Piece and arguably deserves the biggest praise for their role in elevating Wano itself. Akahori is a huge One Piece fan and has routinely gone out of his way to bring the finest animators and directors into the fold. He has reached out to overseas talents on Twitter, bringing in the likes of Vincent Chansard and Glassround, the latter of which we even managed to rope into one of our redraw videos recently.
Oh yeah,
and also
cool.
brought in the likes of Shu Sugita.
Hey, those
Bobby
redraw
J.
videos are sick if
two of
you've
the
not
best
watched them.
animators working today. Together with Nami
Getting
Miyagi,
actual like Toei
Hayato
animators to
Hayato
redraw
Fujita,
bits was
Akahori
so
takes
cool
a
to
lot of
see.
time planning out where best to use these staff members to ensure they have the biggest impact. He has likewise looked inwards at Toei's own staff to help foster talent from within, promoting the likes of Chu Young-soo to animation director, and series veteran Katsumi Ishizuka to the role of action storyboard artist. This has all resulted in an atmosphere where everyone's looking to do their best, and their efforts are
It's just going to get better as it goes on, eh? So it's like 3 years more, so maybe the anime's got 4? Sick.
Too much of an impact, has since shot his way up to becoming regarded as arguably the most talented director of the show since the beloved Megumi Ishitani. With this happening more and more, the One Piece team has become hugely popular with the Toei studio itself, with other staff in the company looking up to them as a result of their stellar work. And so, for me, there are 3 episodes that best highlight this monumental achievement the Wano adaptation has become. And not just because of their sheer quality, but because the way they were made is a byproduct of this revitalized work environment. Let's look at a very popular episode, with Megumi Ishitani's episode 1015.
Okay.
It allowed animator Bahi JD to have input not just over how his scene was composited, but what colors were used too. One of the industry's best young animators, Keisuke Mori, was also given the freedom to handle the Yamato and Ace flashback section alone.
Oh, it looks so good.
The entire 8 minutes all by himself.
Damn.
This was the first episode I was told to watch from this raid, and to say I was blown away by this very installment would be a massive understatement. While I might have
I love how much Ace like had to do with the story, like, you know, going on forwards after he like died in Marineford. It's like so sick.
Yo. Was nothing short of remarkable. Not just providing focus on the action, but showing an attention to detail and metaphor through its use of the Yamato scenes. Utterly unbelievable. Episode 1017 saw the animation director Tu Young-soo personally invite a wealth of talent across Japan alongside his equally skilled friends in China and many others from across the world. The goal of the episode was to surpass any that came before it, and to achieve this, they were granted the freedom to use not 4,000 sheets that would typically be used in a given episode, but instead 20,000 sheets. And boy, does it show on screen.
Whoa, go on, let me see. Oh.
In episode 1028, the aforementioned Yasunori Koyama took his action direction to new limits, and took full advantage of Masashi Productions' photography skills, putting together a spectacle drenched in atmospheric colors and fascinating portrayals of power. In particular, he took great care over his use of flower petals as a visual metaphor for the narrative of the fight, resulting in not just a feast for the eyes, but one with powerful emotional resonance. These unique additions to the anime are something Oda has said he truly enjoys the most. And it's great to see this happen more often in an arc where the manga version famously off-screens or speeds through many of its events. Ultimately, none of these episodes could have happened without the complete overhaul of One Piece's production environment. For many, the anime version of Wano has now long since surpassed the source material, and even for those who don't quite agree, it's impossible not to sit back and applaud the remarkable upgrade this series has not only seen, but continues to see week after week. It's rare that an anime that has run as long as this finds itself better than ever. But the unrelenting passion within the team continues to bring about new heights.
And that's good to see, because it's going on for a while. Stay strong, team.
If you are interested in learning more about the people responsible for this series, I definitely recommend checking out Skippy the Robot's YouTube channel. He provides interesting insight into the behind the scenes week by week, and it's a great way to find out
It's only got 5 something. Wow.
And track
Okay,
their
cool.
progress in the industry. The link is in the description. As many of you can tell, I was a massive fan of this opening material, and yet this was around about where I started to lose interest in the story reading week to week, would you believe? That's right, for the purpose of this video, I had planned on originally reading this story week to week, but something caused me to stop. What was it, and did the story recover for me after that? Tune in next week when I break down the rest of this raid as well as its ending.
Hell
I can't wait to
yes.
share it all with you, and don't worry, I'll make sure to talk about the Yamato stuff next time. But until then, I've been Toy Not Mark. It feels great to be back on the review train.
This is so
And of course,
sick.
Thank you so much for watching.
I'm so glad we got another one next week. Oh, feels like I'm back. Oh, the Joy Boy stuff. Cool. Yes, boss, it's so good to have this back, and it's nice to have another one next week. Not gonna get too into personal stuff, but yeah, it feels like back to where I was at like a year ago. Yeah. So I haven't read chapter 1057. Don't spoil anything for me. I will have read it by the time next one, probably 1058 if it takes that long. But yeah, it's really cool to see Mark like enjoying that, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see him like looking at the anime as well and seeing how they are portraying it. It looks beautiful. It looks really good. They're doing a really freaking good job of that. But anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video, link in the description of the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I sell to support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that. And then a special thanks to Snidely Whiplash, who's currently donating $50 a month to the channel. Thank you very much for that. And then thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch, discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.